All right, let's dive into a pretty radical idea today, one that could totally shake up how we think about paying people in the service industry. We're talking about a model that links wages directly to physical effort. So let's break down how this could actually work.
Look, if you've ever worked in a restaurant, or really any service job, you know this feeling deep in your bones. A quiet Tuesday lunch shift is a completely different universe from a slammed Saturday night dinner rush. I mean, it's night and day, right? The physical work is just not the same. But your hourly pay? It's usually identical. So how on earth do you fairly reward someone who basically just ran a marathon during that crazy shift?
Well, this is where a pretty simple piece of tech that's probably in your pocket right now comes into play. A pedometer. What if we use these step counters for more than just fitness? What if they became a tool to objectively measure how hard someone is working? It really opens the door to a whole new way of thinking about pay.
So let's give this concept a name. It's called the pay-per-step model. And as we're about to see, this is way more sophisticated than just, paying someone a penny for every step they take. It's a whole structured system.
Okay, the most important word on this slide, and I really want you to lock this in, is hybrid. This is not about getting rid of hourly wages. The whole point is that pay-per-step adds an incentive bonus on top of a solid guaranteed base wage. Think of it as a reward for that extra hustle, not some system that puts your basic income at risk.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. An idea like this immediately brings up some big questions, right? Like, is this fair? Is this even safe? And that's exactly why this entire model has to be built on a foundation of super strict, non-negotiable rules. You just can't do this without some serious guardrails. And this, right here, is the golden rule. It's the guiding principle for everything else. Before we even talk about money or numbers, the system has to be designed from the ground up to protect the employee. The goal here is to motivate and reward, not to exploit or create some kind of crazy, unsafe workplace. So let's walk through these 5 non-negotiables. First, total pay, base plus bonus, has to always be more than the local minimum wage. No ifs, ands, or buts. Second, you've got that guaranteed base salary that's totally secure no matter how many steps you take. Third, and this is absolutely crucial, you have to set daily caps. The point is to stop people from overdoing it or skipping breaks. This is about motivation, not burnout. Fourth, you have to be completely transparent about data privacy. And finally, all the normal labor laws for things like overtime, they still apply, completely separate from this system.
Okay, so with those rules in place, let's see what this actually looks like in practice. We're going to start with a model designed for a really high-cost, competitive city, somewhere like Tokyo.
The whole thing starts with a strong foundation, a base wage of 1,350 yen per hour. Now that's set well above the local minimum wage. This shows that the goal isn't to cut costs. It's about paying a solid, guaranteed salary to attract good people in a tough market.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly. You've got your base pay, which means you're guaranteed to make over 10,000 yen for a normal 8-hour shift. Then, the incentive part only kicks in after a baseline of 7,000 steps. You can think of that as the normal workload. For every 1,000 steps you take above that, you earn an extra 120 yen. But, and here's that safety rule again, it's capped at 1,000 yen a day.
So how do you get that bonus? It's really just a simple 3-step process. Those first 7,000 steps are just considered part of the regular workday, and they're covered by your great base salary. It's the extra effort, every step you take after that baseline, that gets rewarded. And of course, that safety cap is always in place to make sure nobody pushes themselves way too hard. But hey, a model that's built for Tokyo isn't going to work everywhere. The system has to be flexible. So now, let's check out a different version, one that's been adapted for a regional city where the cost of living and the job market are totally different.
And right away, you can see the difference. The base hourly wage here is lower, at 1,050 yen. But this isn't just a random number. It's a rate that's been set to reflect the local wages and economy, while still being a competitive and fair starting point.
Oh, this comparison is fantastic. It just lays out all the tweaks side by side so clearly. The base pay, the incentive rate per 1,000 steps, the daily cap, even the baseline number of steps. They're all scaled to fit the economic reality of that specific place. It really proves this isn't a rigid one-size-fits-all plan. It's a flexible framework.
All right, so let's say you're a manager, and you're thinking, this is actually pretty interesting. How would you, do it? Let's get into the practical step-by-step blueprint for actually rolling this out.
This quote from the source material basically gives away the secret sauce. The best, most effective, and safest way to do this is a 3-part hybrid.
You need that great guaranteed salary, you need the bonus for individual hustle, and, this is key, you also need a bonus that rewards the entire team. It's the perfect balance of individual motivation and teamwork.
And here's the 5-step roadmap. You don't just flip a switch on something like this. You start small, you run a pilot test for a couple of weeks to get real data. How many steps do your people actually take? Then you use that data to set your rates fairly. Next, you get all the legal and HR stuff in order, obviously. Step 4 is critical. You train your team so they really get it, especially the benefits and the safety rules. And finally, you go live, but you keep listening. You get feedback, and you're ready to tweak the system to make it better.
And that really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? This model offers a way to objectively measure and reward physical work that a simple hourly wage just can't touch. So, if it's built on a rock-solid foundation of safety and fairness, could this be where things are headed for the service industry? It's definitely a powerful idea to think about. Thanks for tuning in.